Working with Adobe Acrobat AI Assistant, I'm creating a business of acting manual to help others. A manual of this size would take me maybe a year. With AI Assistant, I can finish it in 4 to 6 weeks.
Thank you so much. Esteemed colleagues, guests, we would like to start the proceedings, if that's okay with you. I want to start introducing myself. My name is Harrison Pina. I'm the Deputy Chair of the Water Research Commission. It gives me a great pleasure to facilitate this session. As a means of introduction, before I do that, I just want to welcome all esteemed guests, executives of water entities, of the research entities, particularly the Provincial Department of Water and Sanitation, COPWA, the IUCMA, University of Mpumalanga, and all the local and district municipalities, esteemed colleagues from Salga and Kokta, all protocol observed, and we would like to kickstart the program. The Water Research Commission had some very serious and interactive engagements since last year as part of the organization's strategy to make sure that the research, development, and innovation interventions are somewhat targeted to the issues that are being reflected within the province. And I'm sure the CEO, she would want me to say this, that as much as the Water Research Commission has a very clear mandate, very often the Research Commission have been tasked into not expanding that mandate, but make sure that it also plays a strategic advocacy role. So this morning I was jokingly saying that the Water Research Commission is here to solve all the water problems. That is not true in a way. The Water Research Commission is here to make sure that we facilitate a sector approach to resolve the water and sanitation issues within the Mpumalanga province. And hence, between last year and now, there's been a series of high-level engagements and also at a technical level with professionals to see what those pressing issues are within water and sanitation, and how we will actually make sure that we address those issues. And so with partnerships like these, where we have this platform, cementing those partnerships to make sure that there's a sector approach, collaborative approach, to deal with issues in a systems manner, that can only take us a long way as a country. A number of issues, of course, from last year were highlighted, particularly around climate change and adaptation. How are we going to make sure that those national issues of climate change and adaptation is being scaled to the various levels of scales, particularly in the provincial plans, in terms of coming up with adaptation measures, as well as also dealing with issues around resilience. There was also the issue highlighted of high non-revenue water losses that was quite prevalent in the province, and those were discussed. Issues around water quality. Then there were also issues around the availability or maybe alternative sources of supply, such as groundwater. I know that when it comes to bulk water supply, we do have an appetite for surface water and pipe supply, but throughout the country, and I think Mpumalanga is by no means an exception, that there are very good pockets of opportunities as to how we can also have a systems approach to make sure that we look at other sources of supply, such as groundwater, let alone its contribution to surface water. Then the whole issue around capacity building and skills development was quite a sticky issue that was discussed. And it has been such a pleasure to have a university as Mpumalanga University being involved as a partner in these serious endeavors by the Water Research Commission to make sure that there's a sector approach as to how we tackle the challenges going forward. So the program that we have for the 2 days, and particularly for today, is really structured around the reflections from the different organizations who are all key role players to make sure that we attend to these pressing issues within the province from our different entities, and what these partnerships actually means for us going forward in terms of resolving the issues as it relates to water and sanitation. We do have a lineup of esteemed speakers who will take us through this first round. I'm not going to waste too much time because we're running slightly behind schedule. So I would like to head straight into the program itself and invite Prof. Aldo Strubel from the University of Mpumalanga to welcome us here at the university and also in the province with his welcoming remarks. Over to you, Prof.
Esteemed colleagues, a very warm welcome to the University of Mpumalanga on behalf of our Vice-Chancellor, Professor Toko Maikisu, and indeed all the staff and researchers who are participating today and tomorrow. We are very pleased to bring you to this new, emerging and very strong university. We are also very delighted to partner with the Water Research Commission and indeed all the various stakeholders and partners who are here present today in these critical discussions that are being planned. You are joining a higher education institution that is exactly 10 years old. But in this 10 years, it has seen rapid development and is truly established now as the only fully fledged comprehensive university in this province. We have more than 10,000 students, more than 800 postgraduate students. We offer programs from certificate to PhD level. There are numerous areas of research focus and depth and capacity in the researchers that we house. I'm linking you to a few of these indicators, colleagues, to show that our partnership, that is numerous already, will grow and benefit from the strategic engagement with the Water Research Commission. And in that sense also, I'd wish to acknowledge the excellent presence of board members of the WRC, Dr. Mwantwa, the CEO of the WRC, its executive, and various other role players. Colleagues, there's a number of partnerships that this university holds and finds endearing in this province. And this ranges from larger provincial engagements with provincial departments, the city of Mpumalanga, the legislature, the City Improvement District of Riverside, and numerous other research and engagement partnerships. And this provides an enabling framework and an enabling environment within which we can position ourselves, but really find the truly strategic engagements which we should focus on. In the sense of today and tomorrow, we will focus on the challenges within the water and sanitation environment. And all of you are experts in your fields and understands the sector very well. But indeed, as Dr. Harrison has said, it sometimes feels that a lack of a systems approach inhibits our collective engagement to solving these challenges together. So the role of the university or a university in such a discussion is multi-pronged. So certainly the ability to provide skills at various levels and to be a knowledge partner with respect to research and engagement and impact of what is being conducted in an environment. Secondly, the role of partnerships is really critical, colleagues. We see in many cases people working in isolation or only in a small way to solve a common set of broad-based challenges that are really national challenges and not just isolated to this province. So the ability of a university to broker these engagements, to be a strong role player, to facilitate discussions and really focus on the knowledge endeavor is critical. And the third aspect is with respect to research, and that links to the knowledge engagement. We find ourselves in many cases in a situation where decisions are made without the adequate and necessary data or research that is conducted to provide a level of advancement towards a policy discussion. And that is certainly what knowledge partners create and provide, and certainly why we are also very pleased to partner with the Water Research Commission in taking this forward. Two last comments, colleagues. Number one, certainly this university, with a multiplicity of offerings and depth in its own knowledge and research capacity, has taken up the challenge of the just transition, not only nationally, but certainly focusing in this province. And this is an increasingly important area of focus for this university in collaboration with a number of role players. On Monday, 16 September, we are holding a national dialogue with South Africa's Academy of Science, focusing on the just transition. And I'm mentioning this because this is a critical aspect also within the water and sanitation environment. The decommissioning of mines, a rather haphazard process with respect in terms of the follow-up, the support, what that means for a labor environment, what that means for a natural resource environment. All of these are critical aspects. And we invite the WRC, you as key partners, and the province to share this commitment as we focus on the just transition. We are very pleased, colleagues, to see this range of innovations displayed in the hall today. I don't think I've seen this hall as green as it is today. But this also links us to the notion of what entrepreneurship means and what innovation means at all levels. Our Center for Entrepreneurship Rapid Incubation has reached national status now in terms of its ability to rapidly engage young entrepreneurs, but certainly also to focus on process of implementation and the business component of these innovations. And that will remain a critical part for us going forward, to work at all levels of innovation, link that to the knowledge and research endeavor, and really together forge a way forward when we speak of impact. Again, colleagues, a very warm welcome to the university. We look forward to the discussions. We certainly acknowledge the range of researchers who are participating today, and very pleased in the later session for us to formalize a broad-based agreement with the WRC as we share our challenges and each play their role in terms of implementation and impact. Thank you indeed, and welcome.
Thank you so much, Prof. Strubel, the Deputy Vice-Chancellor of the University of Mpumalanga. Colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, I would like to invite our CEO of the Water Research Commission to give us her welcoming and introductory remarks, reflecting on some of the very good things that's happening within the Water Research Commission. And perhaps, CEO, we would like to hear what is happening in the international front. Some of us have been following, and see how the Water Research Commission is flying the flag. Over to you, ma'am.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you very much, Deputy Chair. Thank you very much, Professor Aldo Strubel, Board Member of the Water Research Commission, but also the DVC of the University of Mpumalanga. We thank the WRC team that organized all of this, led by Dr. Lipatsi, the Department of Water and Sanitation, led by Ms. Dudu Sifunza, the Nkomatu Sutu Catchment Management Agency, led by Dr. Nick Mhlanga-Ndlovu, as well as the KOBWA, which is one of the entities. It's really one of our transboundary entities. And without having to skip everybody, ladies and gentlemen, I'll say all protocol observed. I think we are 30 years into democracy, and each and every single one of us really had to look deep within ourselves and say, how far has our country come? How far has each and every one of us contributed to where we are today? And what is it that we can still do to make the dream of the Rainbow Nation a reality? We acknowledge that with all of the advances that have been made by government, there's still very many challenges, and acknowledge that in the water sector, we have got a role to play, and we will not stop until we have made those changes. In our discussion last night at dinner, I said, the big thing that keeps me awake at night is that one day when I'm no more, I would love my children to know that there was a time when our mother was in the leadership of the water sector in South Africa, and they should not be ashamed when my name is mentioned. And I believe that should be what each and every one of us wants to be associated with. So, yeah, I must say also, firstly, it's really great to be back in Mpumalanga. I spent a good 5 years of my life here, and I prepared and worked hard and tirelessly at the Nkomatusutu Catchment Management Agency, preparing for myself to be a CEO of the Water Research Commission. So I've missed you all, and I know you continue doing great work, but that being said, the challenges are far from over. The vision of the Water Research Commission really is to increase its footprint. The former Minister Senzo Mkhunu said to me, one in every 500 people that you meet do not know about the Water Research Commission, and that said to me, oh no. Because I knew that the group of people sitting here, they know about the Water Research Commission. I knew that all the academics I know about the Water Research Commission. But then I also remembered that the Water Research Commission is funded by the Water Research Levy, of which each and every South African is actually contributing. So it's an indictment on us as the leadership of the Water Research Commission to make sure that people know about the Water Research Commission. And not only the Water Research Commission, but the good work that has been done at the Water Research Commission. And in response to that, we developed a stakeholder-centric strategy, which was adopted by the board in 2023, and we are implementing that. And one of the key things we said, we have to understand that everywhere in government, evidence-based decision-making is being spoken about. But what does that really mean? It means that there's a need to provide knowledge, research, products, answers to give those that govern us an opportunity to make the right decisions and to improve the lives of our people. And therefore, it is important that we bring the country expertise together to respond mainly to the socio-economic challenges, but also to note that we have got what we call the National Development Plan 2030 with its targets that we have committed to as a country and that we have to respond to. That, notwithstanding the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations, as well as the climate change challenges that are facing us, where we have to respond and ensure that there's water security and there's resilience as well as adaptation. Thus, the challenges of the transition with an end of life of mining, particularly in Mpumalanga province, is a concern that we have to look into, including the current mining activities. We have to also look at ensuring that there's efficient and effective as well as sustainable use of the water resources and the improvement of the water services within Mpumalanga provinces. In the year 2024, some of the amazing things that are happening within the water sector globally, it's that South Africa is currently leading the IWA, which is the International Water Association presidency. And that's something big. And it's the first time that a person of color, of African descent, has actually chaired that. So we have to leverage that because we need to not just have this high position, but with a backyard of water challenges that are many and cannot be solved. Furthermore, the Water Research Commission received an award for a market-changing technology at the International Water Association Congress that was held in Toronto just last month, which means in the sanitation space globally, out of 18 awards that were given, one was on sanitation, and that's a development of the Water Research Commission, together with our partners, the Gates Foundation, as well as funding that was received from the Department of Science and Innovation. That's big, ladies and gentlemen. The WRC further won On behalf of South Africa and the Northern Cape Province, irrigation board in the Northern Province, a listing of the Douglas Weir, which is over 100 years old, on the World Heritage Irrigation List. So that's also something that's very big that's happening. And in 2 weeks' time, we are convening the Water Day within the Science Summit that will be held alongside the United Nations General Assembly. So the Water Day will be convened by the Water Research Commission. And we have also then will be convening this with our department as well as the African Union. So, I mean, this just shows just how high and mighty we are, and we need to tap ourselves on the shoulder, right, and say we're doing great things. But also we have plans to host the Africa Sanitation Summit together with the World Bank, where we will be teaching the World Bank. And I'm not talking about the local World Bank, I'm talking about the World Bank in Washington, around how to fund new sanitation technologies. And they will be out here in South Africa to visit us in due course. We also are looking to be hosting the Water Conference in 2025 in preparation for the UN 2026 Water Conference, as well as having to leverage off the fact that South Africa will be holding the presidency of the G20 for 2 years. As well as we have been requested that we must consider chairing out of the 6 work streams of the African Union that South Africa needs to chair 2, and the Water Research Commission together with other entities have been called on to support this. Therefore, our call is that with our collective capabilities, we have to be able to hold our heads up on these global platforms, on accepting these big awards, and say that the water issues in our backyard are in order. And unfortunately, we are not able to say that. However, we must acknowledge that there's a lot of work that's going on, and every single one of you is contributing to make sure that there is a difference. Therefore, how do we propose to do this? And hence, we have called this multi-institutional, multi-stakeholder roadshow. We must acknowledge that it is not a one blanket fits all. It is not, it has to be driven by needs, and that is why we are here. We're here to call on you to say, where are the challenges and where do you see the Water Research Commission implementing some of those research so that we can provide the necessary answers. It is also very key to acknowledge the role of all entities individually and collectively to address the water challenges. We have to be agile, and we have to apply what you call strategic adaptive management in order to be able to effectively solve these problems. We must not forget to look at the use of systems, the use of innovation and technology, but most importantly, we have to consider digitization and the use of artificial intelligence as part of solving this. Now, this calls for one big change. We really are not skilled, all of us, in those areas, and how do we work together to make sure that we make a change very quickly? At the Water Research Commission, we develop a lot of models, a lot of guidelines, and these find a home in the curriculum of higher education, in other countries other than our own. So we are creating future leaders that will be able to address water challenges of their countries, utilizing Water Research Commission and South Africa developed guidelines, but in South Africa we're not using them. We really have to start praising our own selves and taking up our own products in order to be able to solve our problems. We also have decided that we will be signing an MOU with the university, and that will be followed by further engagements where we will better craft out of the assessment and the analysis and the needs analysis out of this program to really craft a program that will be funded and that will be effective in ensuring that we make a contribution. Gone are the days where we do work for the sake of it. We really have to make impact, and the time is now. Thus, this event aims to announce the strategic interventions that the Water Research Commission is aiming at supporting the Mpumalanga province to accelerate the change in water services, research and development. We want to conduct a knowledge sharing session on the key needs identified during the pre-engagements, but also conduct further needs, and out of that we will be able to craft a research agenda and prioritize that and fund it and ensure that at the end of the period that we have agreed on, we will be able to show impact. And we also want to showcase and engage with Mpumalanga partners on innovation and knowledge projects that will support improvements in service delivery. I think we were also very honored that we have the high level of participants from the different entities. But one of the things that I would like to also call on, and I'm saying this from experience, Ms. Funda and Dr. Nick, is that we really have to start bringing the right people to the right platforms to make the right decisions. You know, when entities are invited, you know, they just say, somebody from the office, just go, we don't know what they're talking about. That's fine, people can attend. The one thing I always ask myself is, do these people go back and give feedback? And is that feedback filtered into plans and operations to ensure that there are changes? We cannot be doing this talk show forever. I mean, we have come 30 years into democracy. We are now having a government of national unity. We don't know what's going to happen in the future, and we should not be counted as the sector that has contributed to the fall of this beautiful government system, the constitution that is so lauded all over the world in South Africa. We have to have made the contribution that those that lead must have had the support of us, because we are the civil servants. I keep saying to people, it doesn't matter who you put in power. If we sitting across this room are not going to be doing our part, it doesn't matter, the successes are not going to be there. Therefore, we'd like to respond to the water-related challenges experienced by the province using water research, development, and innovation. We also want to look at how can we best support, partner, and empower each other around the lack of sufficient skilled personnel. And in particular, I mean, we're talking about these things around AI, these things around digitization. How do we use that? We also have a partnership with WISA, which is the Water Institute of Southern Africa, that does a lot of training, particularly around local government practitioners. We also have got a partnership with IMESA, which also is the Institute of Municipal Engineering in South Africa. And one of the key things that we are intervening specifically in that part is that we've got our WADA program where we take about 20 engineers. We train them in the country, we take them internationally, and we are told that these are but the best engineers that we have in the country. And we cannot marry the challenges that we have in the country and the expertise that we have, and we really need to start making that a reality and improve the situation. We also want to improve water availability in the province, and a lot of the work that we have done together with the university and the Nkomatisuthu Catchment Management Agency stands to really revolutionize how water use applications and allocations are done. And it is good. So the Act will say this is how you do it, then you implement, then you evaluate and review and say, but given the current material conditions, this is how we need to change. And we really are grateful that the university and the IUCMA were on board with the Water Research Commission on that. Mine closure is a growing concern in South Africa due to the associated environmental and socio-economic challenges, but also the just transition for energy that has been spoken about in relation to climate change is going to have a very huge impact for socio-economic in the socio-economic issues in Mpumalanga province. And how do we start working towards identifying what are the challenges and saying these are the gaps and how can they be solved so that when this happens, we are not caught off guard. So this is really something that we really must also be focusing on. And the WRC and the IUCMA continue to collaborate in developing research that addresses the environmental issues affecting the province, but we cannot only be just as the IUCMA and the university. And lastly, I would like to say that, colleagues, universities are for knowledge generation. We don't always have to be going to consultants to get answers at a very high cost when we have our universities. The Water Research Commission is a premier knowledge hub in Africa and in the world. Have the work that you're paying for. It's actually repackaged work from the Water Research Commission that we pay millions for. I'm not saying there's not a role for consultants. I'm just saying history has taught us over the last 30 years how these things work. And we are saying over the next 30 years and over the next 50 years of the Water Research Commission, we like to be your partner in providing those solutions. Thank you very much, Deputy Chair.
Thank you so very much, CEO. On the international front, really, I think we need to give another applaud. That is huge. The president of International Water Association, all the way from Africa, from South Africa, I think that deserves another applaud. Deputy Vice Chancellor, next year, 2025, there's a lot of things happening on the global scene here in South Africa. It gives me great pleasure to inform the audience here that this university is one of only 2 universities that will be hosting these G20 events next year. So I think that really deserves another round of applause. So we can see that we really, on the international front, we're making some very good inroads, and we should be really proud of ourselves as a country and as a continent. Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, I would like to invite our group executive for research, development and innovation from the Water Research Commission, Prof. Steny Lepatsi, who will give us some remarks with regards to the knowledge management and knowledge sharing that we've had between last year and now within the province, and also zoom into some of those strategic research, development and innovation perspectives as it relates to the province. Over to you, Prof.
Good morning. I've just brought my computer because I realized that my presentation is on the other side and I didn't memorize it enough actually to recite it. Yeah. Thank you so much. And I want to actually to acknowledge my leaders at the level of the board, and also Prof. Strubel as well. He's the DVC, but he's also our leaders in the WRC as well, because he's part of the board as well. And I also want to acknowledge my fellow colleagues as well from the Water Research Commission, the executives and managers, but also I also want to acknowledge leaders of the sector as well, from the national sphere as well as from the provincial sphere as well. I know that you have been acknowledged as well by the CEO and also by Prof. Strubel as well. But I just want to touch on some few issues relating to what we would want to do and why we are doing what we are doing. So the Water Research Commission, indeed, let me use that. The Water Research, can I get the next slide, please? Or is there here it is, okay. Yeah, good, I got it. Okay, I can use that screen, okay, good, thank you. There's a technology already. Okay, great, yeah. I just want to first tell you about the situation, the environment in which we operate as the Water Research Commission. This year has already stated the background in terms of what we do and so on. But I think what is important is that, like any other organization, especially the public entities, but even the private entities, you look at the situation and you look at... Okay, for me to move around. No, that's fine. But it's okay. Yeah, the situation that we are all actually surrounded by politics as one of the variables. We all have legal issues that we have to deal with. We all have the operational environment. We also have the economics of the country and even of the region, and as well as of the continent and the society that we need actually to serve. So all these variables, indeed, they are factored in the work that we do. So the water research, development and innovation is supposed to be much more relevant to factor in all those matters, or those variables or factors, and also to ensure that when we talk about the outcomes of the organizations, they are actually tuned to be able to cater and address some of the concerns coming from those areas as well. So we are actually working as an organization to ensure that our research, development, innovation, products, and even services, and even the knowledge solution that we come up with are actually relevant and they address this outcome. And that also enables the country and the users to be able to take them up and use them. And it is actually good to know that we're also getting these recognitions even globally and even internally. There are also other recognition that we are also getting, which is actually good. But another important thing is that out of that, one can also screen out and think about or see what are the other main factors from that which we can say they are driving the research and development strategy in the Water Research Commission. And amongst all that, one can pick up the climate change. Climate change is important. You heard the CEO talking about water security, resilience, and adaptation. So it is one of the important element or issue that is actually factored in our out-based strategy of the Water Research Commission. The fourth industrial revolution, as you know, the issues like digitization, use of data, and so on, so we can't actually be left behind. And as Prof. Stubel also mentioned that they also have an event coming on just transition, it will actually need expertise coming from that so that we can bring in the expertise, the knowledge, and all the analysis so that we can come up with much more tailored solutions for us to deal with the issues we have. The demographic change is also an important factor in South Africa. As you know, the population, especially in the developing countries, one speaker said actually in the global south, you will see that the population is actually increasing, and it will still continue when actually in other countries, the northern hemisphere, the population actually has flattened and it may even decrease. So it simply means that in terms of the challenges, the water challenges, the sanitation challenges, food and so on, we need to be ahead and they have to think about the solutions that we can really come up with so that we can meet the needs of this growing population. Remember South Africa, like 10 years ago, we were like 52 million people. All of us then we are 60-something million people. So which shows that indeed we are a growing population and the population is even moving to big cities. Gauteng now has got a bigger population than even KZN. So you'll see what is really happening. And people, as they move, getting opportunities or trying to get opportunities, it means we have to come up with solutions. Especially water solutions are important, the recycling and so on. My colleagues will talk much more about that. And the use of water from the mines and so on, as we talked about, how do we really use those resources? Mbombela should maybe be a beneficiary of such kind of technologies. The state of water, one cannot talk much about that. It's already in the news for bad reasons, of course, or for unfortunate reasons, but we all know there was water situation, whether it's environmental water or is the shortage of water in our houses or in our homes. So all those issues we are aware of, and the economy indeed. We just had some good news last week that the economy is starting to build up, and we are having like a 0.4 increase in the last quarter, which is actually good, but we think that the water is actually a driver. It is actually in the center of this economic growth. Last week I was talking in the construction sector conference. I told them that without water, indeed, your construction business will collapse. You need actually water, and you need actually to embrace even some of the water saving and some of the technology that we have, so that we can all have water, and your business will also have water. In terms of how we work in the Water Research Commission, just to highlight a little bit, is that we are driven by the Act. And I just try to classify our Act, the functions and the roles that are coming from our Act. You will see that we have, it is not working, or is it me who is not able to use it? But anyway, you will see the first part. Is it me? Oh, the transition. Okay, but that's fine. So if that's the case, the first part is just talking about the element in terms of the basics that the Water Research Commission is supposed to do, which is about we need to have the 3 C's together: coordination, communication, and cooperation. And that's the reason why we're here today. Communicating, we want to coordinate, we want to cooperate. And with stakeholders, that's what we need to do. And from there, we can now come up with priorities of research needs that the country needs, that the province needs, and then out of that, we can now come with interventions. Interventions can be in the form of research projects, can also be in the form of events or workshop and so on and so on, depending on what the needs are. In some cases, we demonstrate those technologies that we have, and people take them up, and then they can resolve the issues that they really have. And the second part I was talking about, once you have all that, you have prioritized your research, you have actually funded that research, then what do? You need to transfer that innovation. You have to transfer that knowledge or the knowledge solutions to the users or even to the decision makers so that something can come out of that. You can have outcomes and then you can have impact. And then the other thing is important is knowledge, as part of is knowledge dissemination and then capacity building, which this university actually is in the center of it as well, as it is part of the higher education. People are taught, and you use even our research products, our reports and so on, so that you can come up, or you can build on that to come up with new knowledge solutions, and also train students so that they can become employees, or they can become business people that will add or create value in our society. And then I asked the question, then what? From there, we have actually to ensure that the work that we do actually address the water security issues that the CEO talked about, and the water security in terms of resilience and also adaptation to climate change. Because once we harness our knowledge and address those issues, then it is actually possible for us to be water secured in the country. And then what? And what is also important, that we can improve our livelihoods as people. Then people will start to have businesses, people will have jobs, people will have good health because the water is treated properly and you have enough water. So there is actually that kind of thinking that from our act, we are actually thinking about what we need to do, what are the outcomes that we want to see, and in the end of the day, what should actually be clear and be seen in the community, in the people, in the society, and when we look at people, are they really benefiting from the work that we do? Because if they don't benefit from what we do, actually we don't have to exist. So not yet back. You see, that's the reason I brought my computer. It makes sense. Yeah, so the way also we work is that we also acknowledge the point that as we move from province to province and from community to community, we bring to the fore some of the ideas that we have, and we don't know it all. So we also want to listen to ideas as well, your imaginations as well, because what we have seen and what has happened over the years as well, that's what we've seen, is that ideas actually and imaginations are key so that we can turn them into products and services. It starts with ideation, so in the innovation space. Ideation, and then we'll move to research and development and innovation space, then we'll produce innovations or products. From there, we can now start to see the outcomes or from those products when you use them or they transferred. And then from there, we link that to the society or to the people, and we want to see if they are impacting people's lives. And that's what, and then we monitor that, and then we go back to idea, because an idea may start good, but in the end you prove that it's not a good idea. So you go back and revise, and the cycle continues like that. It's only that it's not here, you would have seen the cycle. However, coming back to the stakeholders, I think I won't go too much into this because the CEO talks much more about the intention, what we want to do. But I just want to talk about some few things about that, to say we appreciate the stakeholders that we have here in this province. You are our partners, And without you, we can't be able to do much. As you know, our office is in Pretoria, but our impact is all over the world. We work through you. We work through other organizations, through the department, through DSI, all that. We work through you. And the universities actually play an important role in our business model. So we really need you. And I've actually have, I actually have a cycle showing who are really our stakeholders, but you are our stakeholders, and we've implemented many projects through that. And the stakeholder consultation that has been done actually picked 4 things. I just classified them as 4 things. One of them is about the declining drops scores or status. These drops we talk about no drop, we talk about the green drop, we talk about the blue drop. So the no drop, you know, is linked to our revenue water, the leaks and so on, the water that we're not accounting to and that are not really bring us any revenue. But the blue drop talks about the quality of water, or even access to water in particular, good quality of water. And also the green drop talks about the environmental water status that you are seeing there after it has been treated, especially by the treatment plants, like the waste treatment plant. So those are the things that have been seen, that in this province, the status actually is declining, or the scores are declining, which is actually a time bomb on its own, because it simply means that the environmental water quality is so bad. And if it's so bad, it means that those who are trying to treat water that you must drink, they are spending too much money actually to do that. And because they're spending too much money to treat your water, you are supposed actually to pay more money actually to access that water. So you see all that. And if actually they don't have good treatment, or they're not treating that water, you will also be sick. You see, the livelihood thing part that I was talking about, that it must actually be linked to your health as well, the livelihood. And also the issues that have also been found was the water, the no water safety plans in the provinces, especially in the municipalities. That is actually the issue that must be addressed. The DAWAS can actually help as far as that is concerned, to help you to develop those plans. And I've already talked about the non-revenue water as a singled out, but it's part of the drops as well. But it has been emphasized again and again. That is actually very high. And also, okay, this is what I'm talking about. That was what was, what? It's not me, no? It is not me that is doing that. Okay, but anyway, but that's what I wanted to take you straight to the slide that has got all those boxes. Yeah, but yeah, and then the last part was about the poor water services. The poor water services. So that's what I was talking about. That it has been actually found from the stakeholder engagement that has happened, or that has been conducted in this province, and even the courses, which was also a good idea, that they also found what are the courses. And these courses, I wanted to tell you that in Mpumalanga, you're not that bad. Don't feel so bad. It's also found in other provinces as well. So the issues of capacity to manage the systems and the sludge as well. Yeah, the financial management issues by the municipalities, all those issues, the limited exploration of groundwater, theft and vandalism. So don't feel so bad, because it's also found in other provinces as well. So I would want actually to not go much, because the C has already touched on these issues. What are our commitments? She talks about that we would want actually the university to be actually in the center, or play this catalytic role. And she talked about the MOU that we can sign, and then after the MOU we can sign even much more specific agreements for what actually we can be able to do together. So because you are the knowledge center in this province. She also talked about the water source management. I don't want to repeat, I just want to say, because I have these slides, let me just pass through them as well. Yeah, the issues of the green drop as well, the non-revenue water, and then the issues about the WEF as well. She talked about that one as well. And also the issue of, and other issues that she really talked about. But I think what is important as I conclude is that we indeed need you as our partners, as stakeholders, so that we can be able to do our work, and our work cannot be impactful without you. So we're glad to be here today. We'll listen to you, we'll hear your voice as well, we'll hear your intelligent inputs as well, that we will actually embrace and also include that in our programs. And that is important for the water sector and the science and technology and the innovation sector. So that's actually important. Thank you so much, Program Director.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Prof. Lipatsi, for those insights in terms of what are the strategic research, development, and innovation issues that we are confronted with. As we can see, some of those, they actually cut across the country. It's not so much only related to Mpumalanga, but it cuts across the country. The big thing there, and I'm looking at our big boss in front, is particularly the issue around vandalism of infrastructure. That is really starting to create some challenges, but we have some very good technology when it comes to cyber security and those issues that we can resolve. So there are solutions to these issues. I'm referring to our next speaker as our big boss, and let me quantify why I say that. When there are issues of green drop, blue drop, and no drop, as Prof. Lipatsi has alluded to, when we look at the news headlines, often the call is water and sanitation. They're not going to call a municipality, or they're not going to call the Water Research Commission, they're not going to call COPWA. So with all these entities that you have, the accountability seems to stop with you, ma'am. But I think the important part is that we have all these sector partners here to make sure that we have this coherent systems approach to provide support. At least it's also pleasing to see that that narrative is starting to change in the media, where those responsible authorities are being called to task and they need to account. So colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you our provincial head of the Department of Water and Sanitation, which I'm going to call to stage, that she's going to give us some remarks from the province. Ms. Dudu Sifunda, who's our provincial head for water and sanitation.
Thank you very much, Program Director, Chairperson of the session, Dr. Harrison Pinar. He calls me the big boss. I'm the small boss. The big bosses are in Pretoria. Also our COO, acting CEO, IUCMA, the CEO of WRC, Dr. Jennifer, who's just outside, and all the WRC board members that are present here, as well as the partners in this initiative, the University of Mpumalanga, that is here today, is our big partner today. He's actually, the university today is actually I can say the celebrity of today, because we are all here because of WRC and the university. We have COCTA here. I see some colleagues from COCTA. We have SALGA, IUCMA, and the other colleagues from the department that are present, all distinguished guests that are here. I cannot mention you all. We usually say all protocol observed. Allow me to say good morning to you all. As it has been indicated, I think the previous speakers has made my task here very easy. And as it was mentioned, the Water Research Commission strategy, which was approved in 2023, as it was highlighted for implementation with a key focus on stakeholder-centric approach that drives the strategic outcomes of an innovation-driven water sector and climate resilience and adaptation in South Africa, as we all talk about climate change and the impact thereof. It really gives me pleasure from the Department of Water and Sanitation, as well as the entire office, to be part and partners of this event that has been hosted by WRC in partnership with the university, as well as the other stakeholders that are here today. And chairperson of the session, as you have indicated and as you are aware that as the department, we are the custodian of the policies that guides your water services. We are the regulators. We also have a role to support our users, to support our municipalities, to support all our stakeholders that are there in terms of provision of water and sanitation services. We have, as it has been alluded since the indication by WRC to bring this to the province, since from 2023, we have been working together with WRC, and we are very delighted in this partnership, or the strategic partnership and engagement with the other stakeholders, as it is mentioned, as we usually always partner with our stakeholders in many ways. As you are aware that water is not for the department alone, it's not for the municipality alone, but it's for everybody who is out there to make sure. I think Dr. Jennifer did indicate that it's no more about the talk. It's now about doing, because when you hear the news, as it has been mentioned, the next pandemic that we are going to face, we usually say these words with our colleagues, that South Africa is a scarce country. I think we are starting to feel that as Mpumalanga as well, because especially with this climate change, Dr. Tendai will tell you, we've got municipalities as we are sitting here that their dams have run dry and the community do not have water. So the biggest question that we have in this room that we need to ask, or we need to answer, is to say, what is it that we are doing about it? Because we have been talking about this for a very long time. And how do we change? How do we turn the tide out there in our communities? The thinking, how do we bring in the solution as this partnership that is here bringing? How do we educate our communities out there to really understand the importance of saving water, the importance of making sure that the water resource is taken care of? And as it has been indicated, that as we believe that this partnership is the right path to economic growth and coherence, as the previous speakers has mentioned, and as the Department of Water and Sanitation, we believe that this long-awaited, it is indeed long-awaited partnership, it will assist in solving the province water and sanitation challenges that are experienced, including the country as a whole. And we believe that this partnership should encourage knowledge-sharing sessions, as it has been indicated as part of the aim of this event. I'm happy, chairperson of the session, I'm seeing some of the colleagues from our municipalities here who are present here, who will capture this and take whatever they have learned in this session home as it will be presented here. We also believe that as we are participating in this, as we know that this challenge of water is now an issue or a challenge for everyone. And I think, Prof, you have highlighted the challenges that you have picked up during the stakeholder engagement. I cannot overemphasize that. It's issues that are here, issues that we are faced up with on daily basis, the issues of limited skills. If you look at our blue and green drop, the limited skills that we have in the water sector, also the issues of capacity building, the water quality that is deteriorating on daily basis, the limitations in the water supply availability. I've already indicated that our water resource becomes stressed almost every day. The exploration of groundwater, which probably, as you have said, Prof, our next direction and look, the issues of groundwater to augment our system. We also need to consider issues of recycling, as you are saying. We have an issue at Emalahleni. I'm just highlighting because I'm bringing the issues on board, that our water resource, that site is stressed. And one of the future plan is to look at recycling wastewater, which has been done in KZN, but not here in Mpumalanga, of which we believe the university will even assist in terms of that research. That is one of the projects that we are looking at in the future, just to deal with the issues of limited water availability that we have, in order to make sure that water is available to all. Issues of water losses, I've already indicated to that. The theft and vandalism, I think the CEO here has indicated, how do we operationalize the artificial intelligence, the researches that has been done, and put it into perspective in our municipality to curb or to deal with the pandemic of theft and vandalism that is causing serious challenges in terms of water supply. Issues of non-revenue water, it has been mentioned. Aging infrastructure that needs high capital cost. The water services authorities that are here will tell you that in my municipality, I need 10 billion or I need 5 billion to deal with aging infrastructure. How do we bring other innovations that can be in place, that can be utilized to ensure that we deal with those issues? The constant sewer spillages in Mpumalanga is one of the provinces that is in the red flag, that is highlighted as one of the provinces that have high sewer spillage, as we are all aware. There has been ongoing cases. How do we deal with that? Because the impact of it has already been emphasized. Issues of climate change in terms of sanitation, service management, off-site sanitation, as we know that with the limited water resource, as the department, we are also looking at issues of off-site sanitation. How do we bring it, the technology, how do we bring our political principles to understand that it's no more about flash. What are the other options that are available given the challenge that we have, bringing the innovation and the partnership that we are having here. And the biggest questions we need to ask ourselves, of which this engagement and partnership will need to see to answer, is how do we change them from the key issues or challenges into key successes and achievement? That is what we need to ask ourselves as we are sitting in this room. And we also want to see from the partnership as the department, having the University of Mpumalanga coming into the space. I think, Prof, I will visit the university from now on more often. Even your research lab, we were in University of Stellenbosch with IUCMA at the CSIR research lab about two weeks ago. And I said to Dr. Tendai, you see, we've got University of Mpumalanga here. They are actually modeling one of our dams in Puluzi that we are, Chief Albert Lutuli, that we are supposed to construct. So we were actually, they did all the whole modeling, and we were now observing how the flows will be in the model that has been created. So I said to Dr. Tendai, can't we bring this to the university so that we don't go there and get the modeling for us? Let it be done in-house in Mpumalanga. So we are very much delighted seeing the university coming into the space in the water sector, as well as the community of Mpumalanga as large. And this is what we also look forward to, the issue of provision of relevant water curriculum that will address the water skills that and the challenges that we have in the province. We want to see some of your faculties that can train process controllers if you don't have, to be upskilled in the plant, that can train other skills that we need in the sector, helping with water research and technologies that has been, I cannot overemphasize that, the water research laboratory for the whole value chain, helping with water testing laboratory. I'm just giving you a I'm giving you a homework, because as the provincial office, we have subcontracted that work to a service provider. But if the university had a water testing laboratory, we will take those samples, bring into the university, they test for us, and we get the results, maybe free of charge. That is just on a lighter note, and save those few rands for the communities out there that doesn't have water. So if that can be also explored, we will really appreciate the researches on climate change, which is also a challenge in terms of your sanitation service delivery, water service delivery, the collaboration between the university and WRC working together for the water research to merge research and development and innovation interventions in the province, and also the role that the university will play in addressing some of our water and sanitation matters, which is of a serious concern. And as the department, we value this partnership as essential, also to assist in intervention of areas of blue and green and no drop. I think Prof has already indicated that part. We are mostly on the red as the province. You know the report, and we want to move to be on the blue. We want to recoup all those awards, just like Western Cape. And we believe that this partnership will also assist us in ensuring that we improve as the province in terms of the blue and green drop, not about recouping the hours, but it will even indicate the state of the water that we provide to our communities out there as a province, and also bring confidence level in our communities out there that indeed they are drinking clean and purified water. And obvious, as it has been mentioned, it will also reduce our answering as the department when there are issues of water that we need to answer to say, why is that municipality not providing clean water to the community? So we do value this partnership together with the other stakeholders that have been already identified to come on board, combine the resources to address the key challenges in the province. Together with the Water Research Commission, all the key strategic partners, SALGA as well, who also play a key role in the province in terms of capacity building, the IUCMA, the COCTA, to support and coordinate the initiative to strengthen our municipal capabilities, provide advisory support. I'm happy, as you have mentioned, Prof, the development of water safety plans. It means that we can now move from consultant to do it yourself. That's what you indicated. When you have those tools, when we have those models in place, when we have all those books and all this that we can be taken to, our municipalities can be taken through and can be able to actually develop this themselves and own it and be able to implement it as well. And then to coordinate initiative to also explore the establishment of test partner municipalities for testing some of the developed innovations, which means we are also looking, by the way, Chairperson, when I was still a young and a process design engineer at Umgeni Water, I did one of the papers for Water Research Commission. Yes, back then, around 2000 and something, I cannot mention those years. So the beauty about water research is that it's not only about research. You take those research and you bring into place. So the theoretical part you do, you go from lab to pilot scale, from pilot scale, you go to conventional. So we want to see from this partnership some of the innovation being taken to some of our municipalities out there and be tested if they are able to bring the results that we want as the department. And also all the partners, we are urging collaboration in developing this research that addresses some of our environmental issues that are affecting also our Mpumalanga catchment. I think the IUCMA will elaborate more on that one. Very soon we'll be having the LOCMA in the province that is coming on board as it is being established. As I conclude on my remarks, we are indeed looking forward to strengthening this Mpumalanga Provincial Water and Sanitation Resilience through the research and innovation that will be brought through this partnership that has been initiated. We are very delighted to be part of as the Mpumalanga province. And I believe that in the next engagement, I see some veggies there. We will see some innovations being put here, more of them in a pilot scale, and we'll see some results after all the work has been concluded. We want to thank the Water Research Commission for taking this initiative of establishing this partnership, and we are looking forward to this 2 days session. And I was telling my colleague from the office that I feel like I'm back to university now. So it feels like that because the enthusiasm to learn more. I've seen some of these topics here, and I said we'll be taking some and we'll be discussing, mostly sharing with the municipality as we engage them in terms of our support. I want to say thank you very much. We are looking forward to this partnership. We are part of it. We don't want to be part. We are part of it, and we are committing also to also assist in driving this partnership. With those few words, allow me to say thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Sifunda. I don't know why you insist that you are the small boss. If the Premier has an issue on water, he's not going to call head office, man. So we are aware of that hot seat of yours. Thank you so much for sharing with us. We do have local government on our agenda, but I don't think we have a representative from local government. And maybe, CEO, with your indulgence, usually what I do, when I participate in strategic water sector sessions, and there are key issues to be discussed, I just look around the table, and if I don't see the Water Research Commission, I put on that hat, and I say what has to be said. So maybe what I need to ask is that if I can have an indication how many of the Institute of Southern Africa, how many WISA members do we have in here? So if you don't raise your hand, you have a disadvantage, because when you have a program like this and the speakers are not here, you go to the podium and you claim your space as a water sector professional. So we give you an opportunity to speak, and people will listen. So that's the other hat that I'm wearing, that as sector professionals, let's make use of that platform also to become members of WISA as we solve the country's problems. We seem to be quite on time, it looks like, according to our agenda. There's just some remarks that I have to make. Oh, we're going straight there. Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Naidu. In the absence of those other colleagues, we will just improvise on the program because we do have time. We will go straight into our remarks from our CMA. I'll ask Dr. Nicolette Mahlangu Ndlovu to please join us on stage to give us her remarks from IUCMA. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Program Director. Good morning, colleagues, and may I be allowed to observe our protocol. I am Nicolette Mahlangu, representing the INCOMATI and Usutu Catchment Management Agency, as the Program Director has indicated. Before I make the remarks, colleagues, I'm happy that WRC, in the name of Dr. Jen, indicated that we are not on a talk show. So I stand here in confidence that whatever we're going to discuss today will have results and outcomes, because we are a results-driven sector. And standing here, colleagues, I would just want to challenge us all as water sector experts to say the water issue, water and sanitation issue, is actually not a boardroom or a conference room issue. It is a lifestyle matter. It does start from the little things that you do in your daily lives. We are sitting here all as think tanks for the water sector. And my humble apologies. I'll open brackets, sorry, inverted commas, as culprits contributing to our water challenges. I'll close the bracket. Sitting here, I'm sure all of us have got the conventional type of toilets. The one with low pressure, the one where you press for number 1, you use the same amount of water for number 2. Culprits? None, thank you. All right, Program Director, without wasting much time, I've just reduced my remarks into a few words. When I counted them through word count, they amounted to about 972 words. So please allow me. You can start counting with me. Colleagues, as the previous speakers have indicated, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development calls for ensuring availability, and please underline the availability part of things. And as a CMA, that falls squarely on as part of our responsibility, and the sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. And this is under the sustainable goal, specifically number 6. And on the same token, our Constitution puts emphasis on the delivery of basic services for each and every citizen. And the delivery of such a responsibility lies across the room. And therefore, the NDP has very clear and defined milestones on how to achieve the 2030 objectives, and some of which talks to realizing a food trade surplus, with a third of it being produced by our small-scale farmers. I'm happy that Ms. Sifunda here did relate to the issue of vegetables, which to me, as an agriculturist, talks to issues of food security. And I'm glad that in the room, all of us were born by that year, 2015, 2016. That year taught us lots of lessons. Through the technology that we're talking about today, I'll be very happy if we can relate to that period where we were able to identify that with a 2 liter of water, you can wash your whole body. That was the drought. We learned a lot. We learned to desist from habits such as running a tap whilst you're brushing your teeth. You needed to have a tumbler. So some of which include ensuring household food and nutrition security, some of which we have to ensure that South Africa has access to clean water. That's as per the NDP. Nevertheless, the water and sanitation, and please allow me to add hygiene, is already affected in many different ways by weather and climate, events such as variability, seasonality, and extreme events. And as such, the persistent environmental problems, including pollution, diversity loss, and resource depletion, underscore the compelling need which we are here gathered today through the WRC and the university, where we want to strengthen resilience, partnership, research, through research and innovation. So now, we want to say within Mpumalanga province specifically, these challenges translate into impacts that negatively affect our water resource, its availability and its quality, as well as the performance of sanitation and hygiene services. And what is this need for resilience, which I believe at the end of this meeting tomorrow, we would have put it to the fore. In a province that is marred by extreme weather and climate shocks, enhancing disaster risk prevention and preparedness is often the first line of defense towards adapting to future climate change. Climate change is here, and it is here to stay. Therefore, responses need to be robust to climate risks alongside other pressures on our resources, our systems, and the services. Now, to pursue a wash-resilient future, whilst confronted by the stubborn realities of both a materialistic and discursive nature, such as infrastructure deficits, such as lack of human capacity, and the rising inequality, all point to the need for partnership, research, and innovation. Although the precise nature and extent of change are not yet certain, planners and policymakers, which is ourselves here, responsible for this sector ought to have started acting, not just today, but as of yesterday, to build climate resilience and support adaptation within this very important sector. And as such, colleagues, waiting for certainty is not an option. We are obliged to build and accelerate, including upscaling transformational climate resilient solutions for an equitable and secure wash sector. And having said that, Program Director and colleagues, allow me to just speak now to the issues at hand at a CMA level. Can I tap into the issues of having too little, too much, and too polluted? That's the story of our lives. Indeed, research has long revealed that water insecurity risk is being exacerbated by climate changes, and unfortunately, the resultant lack of access to clean water and sanitation has negative connotations on the hygiene of our people, the health, education, as well as gender equity. So our water problems are cutting across, and they are affecting every aspect of life, of the economy, and of the social aspects of humanity. In our CMA colleagues, our major challenge then becomes revenue collection. That's one of our darkest clouds. If every sector is affected, definitely the affordability of the water services becomes affected. I know that Prof. Lipadzi, researchers normally talk about willingness to pay, but there is also the issue of affordability. And as we gather here in this room, the CMA is currently affected by those issues, where we need to distinguish between the willingness and the ability thereof. Now, having said that, we are saying critical components of a resilient future is not out of the question. Research and innovation has at its core the ability to translate knowledge into action, promoting a holistic cross-sectoral approach, which is more than a necessity within this province, which is the province of the rising sun, as Sistudu said. Now, we have issues as well where, as a CMA, we are embarking on exploring groundwater development options. You'll recall in the 2015-2016, it became an uncontrolled activity. And as a result, so many boreholes are lying idly as we speak, and that's investment on the ground, because it ended up being a reactionary mechanism instead of a well-planned, well-researched, and well-thought-through activity as a mitigation against the drought. And I believe with all these great minds in the room, we will prepare. We said preparedness is important. We will prepare for future planned or projected climatic scourges so that by the time they affect us, we are well prepared. We know where our groundwater reserves lie. And again, having said that, we are also, as a CMA, exploring issues of water use efficiency. I was told that in Israel, one of the driest countries, they are producing more crops just through water use efficiency, ensuring that your water is deposited to where it is exactly required by the plant. We are also embarking as a CMA on issues of river cleaning, and Mr. Makubela sitting there is spearheading that, but you would note that that's not our role. Our role is that of protecting the water resource. However, because of the problem of waste disposal into our resources, we find ourselves now having to clean the river, and that requires money. After cleaning the river, I do believe after this session, there will be ideas about recycle, about reducing and reusing. We are also faced with the problem of fish kills, which is a result of the pollution of the resource from various sources. But to top it all, it is the wastewater treatment works that are not well managed and operated optimally so. We are also having issues from mining pollution, which talks to issues of regulation, including the defunct mines in terms of their management. So we do embark on compliance monitoring, but you would agree with me, that's not good enough. There is somewhere along the value chain where all of us here can work together and ensure that the resultant impact is minimal. So having said that, let me just finalize, Program Director and colleagues, to say on the partnership aspect, the IUCMA, since its establishment, has made tremendous contributions in the significant and ongoing progress towards the attainment of transformation of the sector. And in discharging our legislative mandate, the institution has contributed to the development and implementation of various water sector policies and strategies, and including the realignment of several institutions, which also include the establishment of water user associations. And again, allow me to say, we promote IWRM, and within this framework, it is considered vital, and part of it promotes and emphasizes the need for data. But as an institution, again, we do not want to be just a data repository. We want our data to translate to information. We want our information to translate into knowledge generation, and we don't want it to end there. Once this knowledge is generated, it ought to reach each and every user, each and every stakeholder, so that at the end of the day, we are considered wise, because after knowledge generation, there comes wisdom. So through this partnership, the IUCMA is therefore delighted to be part of such a phenomenal undertaking, and we hereby pledge continued collaboration towards the common vision of strengthening provincial water and sanitation resilience through partnership, research and innovation, and we believe partnerships are the bedrock of a water-secure future. The platform, which is this platform, created through our, Dr. Jen says, the Water Research Commission and the University of Mpumalanga. This platform is poised to provide opportunities and a framework for sharing knowledge, mobilizing funding, and providing technical support, envisaged to foster collaboration, coordination, and communication among all stakeholders on all WASH-related priorities. And with all those words, I thank you, colleagues.
Thank you so very much, CEO, for those remarks. The CEO have spoken, and I take it, CEO, IUCMA being one of the first being established, sitting next to the Provincial Head of Water and Sanitation. Those functions have migrated, CE. They've all migrated. That's very good to hear, because certainly in terms of responsibility, when we look at your dams, Dagama, 3 copies, and Hayes Hope, and Inyaka, Jericho, and Clip copies, we know what we get from the department, but we also know what we get from the IUCMA. So keep up the good work. Thank you for those remarks, CE. Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, it gives me great pleasure now to welcome to the stage, again from the University of Mpumalanga. We'll have a presentation. I think this is going to be our last speaker. I would like to invite Dr. Salamina Mokhehle to come and share with us her presentation. Over to you, ma'am.
Good morning, colleagues. I'll also follow through and say I would like to observe all protocols. Thank you so much. My name is Salmina. I'm a researcher here at the University of Mpumalanga. I was very happy to hear Dr. Mhlanga Ndlovu when she touched on aspects of food security and crops. I was very delighted. So when we were asked to come and talk, we looked at the projects that we have, and I would just like to mention a few. We have a project headed by Dr. Dalu, and he has formed a wonderful group on aquatic system research group. We also have a project on school gardening project headed by Dr. Mklata. And we also have a project headed by Dr. Ayanda Shabalala, and she looks at groundwater monitoring and also the aspects of water treatment. I'm just mentioning a few of our projects. But there were a lot of keywords that kept coming when we were discussing about what to share with you today as UMP. And the keywords that relates to resilience, adaptation, climate change, innovation. they kept coming time and again. And we saw it fit to come and share with you about how we can integrate climate change resilient crops. We call them underutilized crops as part of our presentation today. So that's what I will be talking to you about. And our title is there, Integration of Climate Change, Climate Resilient Underutilized Crops. And these are experiences of our smallholder farmers here in Mpumalanga province. So I'll be touching a lot of approaches that they have worked on as part of adaptation and also innovation in a way. So that is my outline, just to talk about the contribution of Water Research Commission, the approach that they are heading with, and also some of the key challenges that we have identified that motivated some of the projects that we have. And I'll go a bit to the aspect of solutions, which talks to the climate smart agriculture, and just some of the implementation approaches that we followed in the deliverables of our projects, and I'll close. So Water Research Commission, and I think the CEO spoke so well, and we are delighted that you are here. We are very grateful. But the aspect that we are interested in from Water Research Commission, from your approach, is the aspect of water in agriculture. And I think in one of your strategy, you talk about reducing poverty and creating wealth. This is through different enterprises that can be formed, but you are looking at the aspect of water. So we find ourselves also contributing to water management so that we can have farms or smallholder farmers who are profitable, who are not only producing to eat, but they are also producing to sell. But the important thing is that they know how much water to apply to their crops. So we are grateful for the approach from the Water Research Commission. So I just thought I should share it with the House today. I think a lot of challenges that we see on the screen, in one form or another, they have already been mentioned from the floor, and also some by our presenters. I will also add to the challenges. The aspect of water is a problem, and we are all aware of it. In addition to the problem of water, for the few that have access to water, the aspect of irrigation is also a challenge, because many of us, we hear about irrigation, but which type of irrigation are we supposed to use to irrigate our crops? Even when we are irrigating, how much water are we supposed to apply to our crops? And also for which crops? So we found that as a challenge also. We also understand that the aspect of knowledge is a challenge. And we are not saying that the people do not have knowledge. No, people have knowledge. But the utilization of knowledge in an adequate manner is still a problem. Many of our farmers, they have the indigenous knowledge. They know how to cultivate and many others. But the challenges that come with climate change are challenging to all of us, because at times we are not even sure if we are supposed to start planting. Like, for example, now, planting is in September. Are we going to start planting now, or are we going to wait for the second rain? Such challenges. So I'm just showing some of the challenges that we also identified. So when we look at the different challenges that we have, we searched through literature, and we saw that FAO, or the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, has a document which talks about the 5-step approach to solving problems that relates to climate change. So when we look at the different steps, you will notice that it talks about strengthening policy, it talks about collaboration, it talks about enhancing finance and funding so that some of these practices can be implemented. And I think today's event is one that aligns very well with the 5 process stages that are mentioned there, because we have gathered here together as stakeholders and we are championing solutions to the key challenges that we have identified today. So as part of the project, we also looked at some of the climate smart practices that we can assist our smallholder farmers with or work together with them. And what was clear to us was that we would like to move from the conventional way of practicing agriculture to a more climate smart way. And that just includes the utilization of crops that can adapt to some of the climatic conditions that we see today, utilization of soil moisture monitoring attributes, applying your mulch, using your cover crops, utilizing fertilizers that are not harmful to our environment. So those are some of the aspects that we were thinking of. So the climate smart agriculture approach became important and a major one for implementation of these strategies with our smallholder farmers here in Mpumalanga. But to do that, we needed to know the people that we were working with, and we went and engaged with communities in different villages here in Mpumalanga through focus group discussions, them also telling us about some of the problems that they encounter when it comes to cultivating crops, when it comes to water. And I just show the map just to proof of evidence that indeed these are the villages that we have looked at across the province. And there are so many, because from Lupisi, Malikutu, it's encouraging to see our farmers working so hard. You could ask that, yes, Almina, you are talking about underutilized crops, but how are they of importance to me as somebody sitting in the audience? So I just want to allude to their importance, which comes in different forms. And many of them, we eat them, and we're going to have them during our lunchtime. They're an important source of our minerals, and they really assist us in diversifying our food base, and many of them, they can really respond well to the challenges that we are facing. That is, some can grow with limited water. So they become very important. And I just wanted to show some to you. Perhaps you know of the famous amaranth. Many of us, we used to call it a weed because it grows rigorously. Even if you don't irrigate it, it grows on its own. You will find it everywhere. It has become an important crop to us. We also have the tebarie bean. We have the famous okra also. We have the chickpea, the mustard, the cowpea, and also the bambara groundnut. Here in Mpumalanga, they call bambara groundnut Jacobins. I came to learn of that. But you notice that I put 2 pictures of amaranth, that is the green amaranth and also the red amaranth, because it's important. And this is why I was involved in an innovation in my previous life which assisted in utilizing the seeds of amaranth to make bread. And this innovation was awarded a huge amount of money just to carry further with it. And this crop itself is important because it created Nala Morogo bread during my time as a researcher at the Agricultural Research Council. But as part of our participatory research in terms of water, what we look for in capacitating our smallholder farmers, and we are very, very grateful for the support from the Water Research Commission, because without them, we cannot buy the wetting front detectors. We can't buy some of these sensors that can be utilized by our farmers. So through that support, we are able to really procure some of these resources. The famous one that our farmers like is the chameleon irrigation sensor, and which is an innovation that was developed by a candidate who was a student at the University of Pretoria. So they call themselves the Irrigation Academy. So they supply us with those irrigation sensors, and we are grateful because they provide knowledge in terms of when to apply, especially for farmers, because some of the advanced technology might not be so easy for them. So we're grateful for that. In addition to utilizing technology, some of the indigenous ways is the aspect of rainwater harvesting. Many of us, we know rainwater harvesting because we collect through our roof, but we could also practice rainwater harvesting through our catchments inside our plots. We call them the infield water catchments, just to make sure that, you know, as you are cultivating, you are also conserving some water for later. And this is easier for the crops that we have, underutilized crops. I also mentioned the aspect of land as a challenge in the key challenges, and I did not touch it on purpose, but we find ourselves with that challenge, truthfully. So we could also look at the aspect of the back system, and I think I've seen one here today as part of the innovations. It helps us with water conservation because you do not have to irrigate timeously, and the profile of your bag is already measured. But the beautiful aspect of it is that you are able to cultivate so many crops at once. You can even put two, the aspect of intercropping in a bag system. How wonderful. But let's look at the results. So when we look at the results, this was an experiment that was done by a master's candidate here at UMP. She's looking at different underutilized crops in response to mulching. What happens when you give them different mulch? When you give them the plastic mulch, when you give them the grass mulch, and also when you just plant them as they are, what is their response in terms of the yield? We're excited to see that cowpea showed high prevalence of height, which is a good indication for yield. And then also in terms of the chlorophyll content, which just says that the plant is able to photosynthesize adequately. We also saw cowpea showing that high amount there. And what we like about cowpea is that because it's a legume, like many other legumes, it has that potential not to use a lot of water. But in addition to that, because it's a legume, it has the ability to convert the atmospheric nitrogen to that nitrogen that can be used by the plants. And it's a favorite crop because our farmers, when they intercrop with the cereal, that way they do not need to be spending a lot of money on buying fertilizers. Let's look at the aspect of nutrition. When we analyzed our samples and looked at the nutritional analysis, we also realized that there is a lot of huge variance, but it's encouraging that, like we indicated and the information that we got from the literature, that these plants are good in terms of nutrition. We do see that. And we looked at the aspect of the calcium, the magnesium, which we know that are essential for our well-being. Also the aspect of the zinc, you can see there varying amounts, and we know the importance of zinc from all of us as women, as men, and also for the children. We do know, hey? Yes, so with that, I would like to really conclude, but in my conclusion, thanking the Water Research Commission, I also want to indicate that these results that we are working on have, high impact, because these are not results that are only conducted by the students, but we do what we call participatory research. So we get information from the farmers, we also get the scientific one, which is done by our student. We see the project as an important one which has impact, and we are grateful for that. And this is because of the underutilized crops that I have just alluded to. The different innovations that I was talking about, we call them sustainable practices because they encourage ways of taking care of our environment. And I spoke about the aspect of mulching. I also showed the intercropping, and also understanding scheduling of water use. And that can only be done, when we do research more. But we also understand that we cannot work together, and we have been working with other institutions like the Agricultural Research Council and also the local Department of Agriculture here in Mpumalanga. What I'm saying is that the involvement of stakeholders in achieving whatever innovation that we are thinking about becomes important, and I am so happy to be part of that discussion which we are having here today. So I want to thank all the organizations that really contributed to ensuring that we are able to achieve the deliverables that we have at this point, and the funder, WRC. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Makhehle, for your presentation. Food security is key. We also picked that up from the CEO from IUCMA. I think at this point we really need to pride ourselves as a country, because I don't think it's just a matter of us celebrating Women's Month. We can see leadership in water when it comes to women in water. Just from the list of prominent speakers that we have. So we can really applaud ourselves as a country and be proud of ourselves. I've also acknowledged from the local government, the city of Mpumalanga, ma'am, Berta Salome, you're welcome. She's the acting general manager. Maybe if you want to just stand, people can see you. Feel at home, and welcome so much to our session. I would like for us to move straight into the partnership announcements by calling our facilitator, Dr. Amelia Marutle, to the stage, so we can take care of their business.
So good morning, everybody. I think a table will be set for the signing. So I just wanted to start off by thanking the University of Mpumalanga's executive management, Vice Chancellor, Professor Toko Mayekisu, the Deputy Vice Chancellors, Professor Strobel, Professor Mbewe, Professor Dakuna, Marcelo Sele, Dean Dr. Maminza, and the Director of Research, Development and Management, Dr. Naledi Ntate, research faculty, staff, and student representatives. Thanks for the warm welcome that we have received and for hosting the Water Research Commission's provincial roadshow engagement at this beautiful and sprawling university campus. As we've heard by previous speakers, during the past year, the Water Research Commission has had a series of engagements in the province with key stakeholders, including the University of Mpumalanga. These engagements have been very fruitful, and they've also informed the provincial needs and where the RRC can play a critical role through research, development, and innovation. To anchor the Commission's support to the water and sanitation challenges in the province, a catalytic partnership between the university and the Water Research Commission will commence with the signing of a memorandum of understanding. The university is a catalytical knowledge partner to the RRC because of its inherent knowledge generation and transfer role. Thus, the partnership between the Water Research Commission and the University of Mpumalanga seeks to institutionalize the knowledge and skills transfer program, as the university is best positioned to drive such programs and design future ones informed by the evolving needs of the province. This memorandum of understanding provides a framework to guide, coordinate, and support water research, development, and innovation collaboration with the sharing of existing knowledge and information, generation of new research and innovation products that will contribute towards building greater water sector capabilities, as well as finding sustainable solutions to the water challenges experienced by the province. So I will now ask the CEO of the Water Research Commission, Dr. Jennifer Multwampa, and the Vice Chancellor of the university, Professor Toko Mayekisa, to just give a few remarks before the signing of the MOU. So I'd like to welcome our CEO, if the stage is yours. And
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks, Dr. Malia. I think, colleagues, really for us, this is really important that we are having this MOU signing. It's a sign of commitment, and I think you did say, Ms. Funza, that we're not here to just do talk shop. And I think, from what each of you have responded on, I think we will have solutions. We really have to have a very full Q&A. Some of the low-hanging fruits, we must leave here with solutions. Some of these things we've done, we know the work, and we acknowledge the work that's been done by the university. But this is just to show, because if we're funding and the university is doing the work, how do we then make the impact? How do we then start selling this? When you're doing your license application, how do you start saying what's been done here? It's now we can calculate the water and do the efficiency that Dr. Nick needs. So that is why we're all here. But we're really happy to be doing the signing with the university, and the MOU in itself, it's really packed in terms of the work that Dr. Naledi will take forward in terms of saying what are the works that we want to do, and also taking from what we'll be discussing today. Thank you very much.
Dear colleagues, I speak on behalf of our Vice-Chancellor, Professor Toko Mayekisa, and I cannot express more our delight in forging this partnership and announcing our partnership going forward. We do this in the presence of esteemed colleagues, of esteemed partners and stakeholders in this province, and this sets the scene for a very strategic way forward. I cannot resist to say, Ms. Sifunda, we will certainly partner with you. I'm not sure of the for free, but this creates a strong environment for us colleagues to really co-invest. And this is co-investment beyond funding. This is co-investment in terms of associated value, of the impact that we foresee, the contribution that the university and its partners and its excellent researchers bring, and really a provincial engagement that is nationally focused, that is internationally competitive towards excellence. And we have numerous partners in this province. A major one is the Agricultural Research Council, and very delighted to now formally include the Water Research Commission colleagues, especially in terms of that strategic engagement, applied research, blue skies research, impact orientation, engagement, and engagement with communities. So this is the first step for a long road ahead, Dr. Mwandwa and colleagues. And again, we're very delighted to do this in your presence with a number of board members and the Deputy Chair present here as we take this engagement forward. Thank you indeed for sharing this auspicious occasion with us. I want to take the liberty to please call forward to witness this signing with us, Dr. Mokekhle, Dr. Mkata, Dr. Ntite, to join us on stage for this signing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for concluding on those very important announcements. I'm looking at my counterpart to my right, Mr. Dlamini. You are still on the program, sir. I don't want you to kick me out of Maguga when I visit you. So we will still give you a few remarks from Kopwa's side to share with us before we close the session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning. Good morning, colleagues. I would also like to join in the bandwagon and say all protocols observed. Perhaps to start by introducing myself, my name is Sidney Dlamini. I'm working with COBWA. I'm not too sure how many of you know who COBWA is, but COBWA is an organization that was established in terms of a treaty signed between the government of South Africa and that of Eswatini. The treaty was signed in 1992. Our main mandate is to operate Maguga, which is in Eswatini, and 3 Copies Dam in South Africa. So we basically, our operations involves the supply of bulk raw water to 3 countries. That is South Africa, Eswatini, and Mozambique. So, yes, one would like to say that perhaps maybe because time is at a premium, maybe because a lot of speakers have talked about quite a number of the issues that one would have liked to talk about. But as you know, being the last speaker, when everybody else has spoken, it does put you on an awkward position. But I'd like to turn that into something which is profitable and just brush through some and not all of the issues that I had wanted to raise. First and foremost, I would like to say that COBWA very much supports this partnership, which is aimed at basically strengthening the water and sanitation resilience through research and innovation, and takes this opportunity to further congratulate all the partners for such a noble endeavor. It is indeed a great milestone, and we've just witnessed a momentous occasion, the signing of the MOU here. We have no doubt that the collaboration and partnership will enhance our success in achieving our shared goals. We are excited that this endeavor provides an opportunity to bridge the gap between research and practice. You know, traditionally, or should I say historically, researchers and operators have worked in silos. We've had, you know, institutions like WRC and the universities coming up with cutting-edge research, developing tools, technologies, and all of that, but without consulting the operators on the ground, and the operators themselves doing their own thing, such that at the end of the day, the good work that's been done by the researchers in the universities end up, you know, collecting dust on the shelves. We have a number of reports that are not being implemented. Why? Because there's been very minimal consultations. But we are happy today that we are seeing the signing of the MOU, giving us then that platform to work together in a collaborative fashion. We also think as COBWA that there is also a need to deliberate on issues of, you know, of sustainability of the project or interventions in the long term. For instance, you know, quite a lot of our institutions suffer high personnel attrition rates. So how do we ensure that the skills transfer, or the skills transferred sit with those institutions when they leave those institutions? We also know that there is the challenge of funding in many of our institutions. We want to do certain projects, but those projects cannot be done because of inadequate funding. So it would be critical again for this collaboration to the partnerships to assist one another in perhaps developing project concept notes that would ultimately lead to what we call bankable projects, so that this doesn't die down after, say, the technologies have been provided and skills transferred, then it all stays down because there is no, plan for sustainability into the future. Chair, it is also common knowledge that in the Mpumalanga province, more especially in the catchments around the Komati, crocodiles, and the rest, we are faced with the challenge of water availability. Yes, water scarcity. The growing populations resulting in high demands for water. And we all know that with, the increase in development, more especially agricultural development, that has the effect of reducing the hydrology of the catchment, meaning that then the water becomes inadequate for a number of uses, as most agricultural developments use water as a catalyst. We'd also want to see or have robust and versatile decision support tools. As COBOA, we basically have what we call the long-term water availability, medium-term water availability, and the short-term water availability. So, in order for our operations to be carried out successfully, we need to have tools that fall into all those three categories that can address the issues that are related to those categories. There is also issues of inadequate or unavailable flood forecasting tools. It does happen generally that when we have a drought, what comes after that drought is a flood. And oftentimes we are caught off guard, resulting, in loss of lives, infrastructure, and so on and so forth. There is also the issue of drought predictions, where here one speaker talked of the 2016 drought, but no one was able to predict the onset, the severity, the duration, and the cessation of that drought. Again, we're caught off guard, and as previous speakers have mentioned, we ended up doing crazy things just to try and get some water. I know in some of the towns, they tried to kind of like sink boreholes in a town, and that was unplanned, and that, on the technical perspective, has the propensity to, to lower the ground table and maybe even collapse some of the tall buildings. But with proper research and collaboration among the operators and the research institutions, I think these challenges could be mitigated in one way or the other. There is also the issue of automation and artificial intelligence. And this is what we should be looking forward to. Of course, many institutions are okay with automation now. And the next step is to get to artificial intelligence, because automation, we're talking of, repeated processes over and over again. But what if conditions change? do you have those systems that can dynamically, deal with those situations without the element of human intervention? So these are some of the issues that we were talking about. And perhaps last but not least, ours is to say, because we or some of our institutions are collecting data and information, that there's got to be mechanisms to share that data and information, and that will be critical to the success of some of the projects that we've talked about. So all these issues, Chair, even though non-exhaustive, may not be addressed at a go, but we believe that this is a great start, and going into the future, we'll be able to address some of them. So I wish to once again encourage partners and collaborators to work together relentlessly in pursuit of achieving the desired goals. So I thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Dlamini. I thought when you started asking us what does COPWA stand for, you are going to say it's the water authority in the Komati Basin, the water authority. So just the order of the program, it's important to bring in that regional perspective and also the international importance of such an authority in terms of our water management within the SADC context. Thank you so very much for those remarks and inputs from your side. We've come to the end of our session, but before I close the session, I just want to see around the room if there's any pressing comment or particular issue that we want to raise before we close the session by a show of hand. If not, CEO? CEO, you're raising your hand or you're sitting down? Okay. Please.
Thanks, Deputy Chair. I think we really want to appreciate the remarks that were made and the presentations that were made. And I think of my pet and my passion has always been about, Dr. Nick is not here, but it's always been about the sustainability of the CMAs. And I think it's important that we mention that the WRC did work in early, around 2014, maybe I must face the people, it looks better. In around 2014, where we looked at the model of establishment of CMAs and the financial sustainability. And I think our research had indicated that CMAs are for public good and are not going to be financially sustainable. And I'm talking to you as the department, and we are also taking this work further. So it's work that was done in 2014. For other intents and purposes, the modus operandi changed. And so it has to be funded from water resource charges and monies from a parliamentary grant, Hassan, Section 80. And I think we really have to start supporting the CMAs from the department side, because it cannot just be on the water resource charges. But also we just want to say that the Water Research Commission will be embarking on water economics. And one of the key elements we want to look at is the full cost of water and how that needs to be worked out. Because we probably also don't value it because we're not paying enough, right? And also that being said, we were talking about, Doc was talking about collectivity, willingness, and availability. For those that cannot pay, the Constitution makes provision that they are funded through the equitable share. However, Beth, that the equitable share of water is not ring-fenced for water-related matters, and it's not been utilized to pay it over to the water board so they can pay over to the relevant, entities. So that's something that we really have to start looking at closely and saying, what does this mean and how can this be done? The other matter that we have to also start making inroads on, there's a constitutional court ruling where Umgeni won against the Minister of Water and Sanitation that tariff setting is the minister should not be involved. And that is because in a catchment setting, it is the entity and its stakeholders that are discussing and saying, this is the zero-based budget. This is the project we want to do. It's like a those levies that you do. You are in a housing estate and you all decide how much you're going to pay. That's how it should work. So this whole revision that then when it goes to the next level, it has to be reconsidered, reduced. That's also a factor that we need to be looking at, and I think that's something that we need to work on. But in support of this whole work, we have formed an association of water institutions of South Africa. It's called AUSISA, and that's part of the work that's also been taken care of in that space. Yes, and I think we must also highlight a bit of a disappointment that the legislature, right? The Premier's office, COCTA, they're not here because this is where there is so much power. And when we are together like this and should be expressing that we need those ears. We need the conversation to not take place amongst like-minded people. We need not be speaking to ourselves. We need to be speaking to decision makers so they can see. One of the issues upon which, when they are doing the review and the assessment, the elections were lost in the country is related to water. And if 2024 comes and the water issues are not addressed, I'm apolitical, I'm a technocrat, and I'm an academic. I've got academic freedom to speak freely. Don't be quoting me and saying I said who lost. I'm just talking about the status. Yes, and at a university where my rights are protected. Yes, so 2024 comes. This is now where we're talking about water in the tap, water in the home. If it affected us at a national level, what is going to happen at a local level? So we really have to rethink. It's not about, people don't want many things. People want the ability to live day to day unbothered, even if they can just to have the basics that the Constitution says that they must have. So I think that is a message that as you are doing your RGI engagements in these spaces, and you need to tell them, I said, I was here, we wanted to say, science has shown us, the research has shown us, Doc has done the research, this is what it showed us, this is where we need to move, this is how we are supporting them to enable them to make the right decisions, and they were not here to listen. And also maybe just to add a caveat to that, apparently it's taking the legislature to the People Week, so maybe the dates were clashing, but we should have had representation. It's very much important. Okay. I think that's that from my side. Thank you.
Thank you so much, CEO, for those remarks. If I don't see any hands, I'd like to close the session by indicating that, the many complex challenges in water often calls for coherent, integrated, and systems approaches. And providing mechanisms such as our partnerships being cemented here today really paves the way forward for us to address the water issues in a collective effort through active collaboration among ourselves. As we know that for the SDG 2030 goals, we are lagging behind, and partnerships such as these are the ones that's going to enable us to somehow make inroads in achieving some of the goals that we set for ourselves as it relates to the SDG 2030. So with those remarks, I would like to thank each and every one of us for your time participation in this particular session. We are at a very exciting time in our country where politicians, they have delivered on their mandates before, maybe not to the extent that they wanted to. So now they're even competing in that particular space. And for us, that is really an opportunity to make sure that we provide the necessary support technically to our political leaders in terms of addressing the needs of citizens. Fortunately for me, most of the work packages that is being facilitated by the Water Research Commission, I don't think there's a single one that's not embracing citizen science. So it's really well embedded CE within all the research that you steer at the Water Research Commission. So I think with that, we really have a good insight as to what the needs are on the ground, and we now need to respond to that. So thank you so much for the session. We will be having lunch 1 o'clock in building 13 to my left. There will be marshals outside to show us where lunch is. But let's make use of the opportunity to network. That is very important. It's a networking opportunity. We are here today, so things that we have not managed to address in this session, let's use the networking session over lunch to explore some ideas. And then we would come back for our knowledge transfer workshops, which will be chaired by Ms. Virginia Molose, also in this particular room, I think. So let's convene again after lunch. But thank you so much for your time. Enjoy lunch, and the session is closed. Lunch at 12. My apologies. Did I say 1 o'clock? Oh, my word. Okay. So lunch at 12 until 1. So we have that opportunity. We have that opportunity to network at least until 1 o'clock. And maybe, Prof. Strubel, looking at the facilities here on campus, some of the immediate opportunities I see in the absence of an ICC in Mpumalanga, playing your rightful role next year in G20. I think coming back after that, we will now look at your institution as an ICC for the province in terms of future events. So I think that really paves the way forward. Thank you so much for that, colleagues.
Nothing below, nothing above. No matter how low I get, Lord, you are enough. Nothing can separate me from your love. Nothing can separate me from your love. Lord, you are King of Kings. I'm here to give you everything. It's my whole life that I am offering. I give it over to the King of Kings. I give it over to the King of Kings. I'm here to give you everything. It's my whole